Captain Kidd sailed from England as a royal pirate hunter, but one controversial capture turned him into the most hunted outlaw on Earth, ending with a broken hangman's rope, a second execution, and his tar-covered body rotting for years inside an iron gibbet above the River Thames, as a warning that even the Crown's own captain could become history's most infamous pirate. Enjoy the video, and don't forget to subscribe. Trace your finger along the map from the River Thames to the storm-lashed Atlantic, and imagine the smell of rotting oak, boiling pine tar, damp rigging, stale bilge water, and sulfur drifting from recently fired cannon as gray waves hammered against the tumble home of a weather-beaten sailing ship. Picture the year 1696, when William Kidd, remembered by history as Captain Kidd, did not yet sail beneath the reputation of history's most infamous outlaw, but instead departed England carrying a royal commission, letters of marque, and the expectation that he would hunt pirates rather than become one himself. His vessel, the Adventure Galleon, represented an unusual hybrid warship, measuring nearly 124 feet in length, displacing roughly 280 tons, and combining square sails with nearly 30 pairs of oars that allowed movement even during calm weather. Massive oak buttocks supported her frames, while hand-forged iron spikes fastened every timber before twisted oakum was hammered into each seam and sealed beneath boiling pine tar during careful careening. Her hull carried more than 30 cannon of mixed caliber, their bronze barrels containing roughly 88% copper and 10% tin, carefully cast to withstand repeated detonations without cracking. Every discharge required finely milled black powder, composed of approximately 75% saltpeter, 15% charcoal, and 10% sulfur. As the slow-burning match touched the priming powder inside the vent, incandescent gases expanded violently, driving the iron-brown shot through the barrel before smashing into enemy hull planking with enough force to tear long splinters from seasoned oak that often killed more sailors than the cannonball itself. Yet, despite this formidable engineering, Kidd's greatest challenge would not come from naval warfare alone, but from politics, money, and decisions that slowly transformed a respected private captain into the most hunted man upon the seas. Picture the endless waters of the Indian Ocean where blistering tropical heat baked the deck until pine tar softened beneath every boot, while damp sails cracked sharply as unpredictable monsoon winds shifted across the horizon. Kidd spent months searching for pirate vessels but found almost none, and every empty week drained provisions, damaged morale, and consumed the money invested by powerful English nobles, expecting valuable prizes. Salt beef spoiled inside damp barrels, fresh water turned foul, and oil biscuits became the crew's daily ration. Disease spread through cramped quarters where stagnant bilge water mixed with smoke from the galley fire. According to the Articles of Agreement, sailors expected profit, yet every unsuccessful month increased the danger of mutiny. Kidd understood that returning empty-handed would ruin both his reputation and his finances. In January 1698, his fortunes appeared to change when he encountered the wealthy merchant vessel Weda Merchant, a heavily laden ship of nearly 400 tons carrying silk, sugar, spices, fine cotton, gold, and other valuable cargo worth an enormous fortune. Although the vessel sailed under Armenian ownership, it also carried French passes, documents that Kidd believed legally justified seizure under his letters of marque. That single decision, made amid uncertainty and conflicting legal claims, would soon echo across Europe and forever change his the Earl of Bellamont, and one of the expedition's original financial backers, would examine the French passes and recognize that Kidd had acted under his commission. Rather than receiving protection, he was arrested before he could fully present his defense. His papers, cargo, and testimony were seized, while rumors continued to grow. Newspapers described him as a bloodthirsty pirate, commanding a floating fortress loaded with stolen treasure. Although many accounts ignored the complicated legal dispute surrounding the Quedagh merchant. Kidd remained imprisoned for months before being transported across the Atlantic to England in heavy iron restraints. The voyage back was painfully symbolic. The captain who had once crossed the